Hello, everyone. Happy May 4th. Happy Sunday. Thank you all for joining me for this next episode of the Eidolon Wall. And I hope everyone is having a good day and having a good start of May. But yes, in this episode, I am going to be talking about one of my favorite characters from Final Fantasy IX. I'm going to be talking about General Beatrix, the Rose of May, a a character that isn't seen a lot in the game, unfortunately, as much as I would love to see her in the game more often. But she's definitely a character who has made an impact. She's a character who has made an impact in the series by just being a character that people want to see more of. They want to see more of. They want to see what they can do with her story, what they can do with her as a character, and she's definitely a very memorable character. Um, I first ran into Beatrix. Obviously, when I was a kid, I first ran into her, and I first ran into her as a kid when I first played FF9, and I really liked her as a character. She she already she had it from, even though it was kind of blocky and obviously polygons and that, she had a good design. She looked like a strong character and a nice refined woman as well. And I definitely liked her very early on. Looking in the chat as well, we have Ash Rubber. Hello, Ash Rubber. And of course, we have my mod, Valk. Welcome in, Valk. And yes, may the fourth be with you as well. But yes, hello. And yeah, so when we first see Beatrix, it's just as a random knight by the Queen's side. By the Queen's side, we just see her as a random knight by the Queen's side. And excuse me, she's not even named then. She's not even named at that point as well. But then when we next see her, we then next see her in a scene after where she finally gets named as Beatrix. And we soon find out that she is the strongest female knight in Alexandria. She is the top general. Unfortunately, she even surpasses Steiner, who is only a captain. But considering Alexandria is a matriarchy, it makes sense that women would be, Beatrix is. Oh, excuse me. It makes sense that Beatrix's all-female army would be the better soldiers. They would be the more trained soldiers. And of course, and as the game goes on, we do see more about Beatrix. We see more of her personality. She's proud, she's merciless, she's threatening, but she's also respected and feared. Like even the mention of her name, invokes fear in people, and even, well, yeah, sometimes fear and sometimes just wariness because they know her skills. They know her skills, they know her reputation. She even states herself in game before the first time you fight her, I once killed 100 knights single handedly, and that is very true. She has in fact beaten 100 knights on her own. In fact, the only person she's ever lost to in Final Fantasy IX, like in the history of Final Fantasy IX and its lore, the only person she ever lost to is Steiner. Steiner is the only person she's ever actually lost to. And after she lost to him, she resolved to get stronger and stronger so she wouldn't lose again. And it definitely shows with the skills that she has. And she's definitely, again, like I said, she's a proud warrior. She's a proud knight. She's more like the paladin of the game. She's more like the paladin of the game. Oh, excuse me. Yep. Unlike Steiner, who is just like a simple knight, she's more of a paladin, where she's got white magic, but she's also got Psychon, which are sword skills. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, she's got sword skills, which such sword skills such as Stock Break, Thunder Slash, Clim Hazard, and all of these skills that Steiner unfortunately can't learn until later in the game as the game goes on. But it shows just how strong of a character she is, just how strong of a knight she is, that she has access to these kind of weapon skill, these kind of weapon skill. She has access to these kind of weapon skills that other soldiers don't. And again, this makes her the most powerful knight in Alexandria. And yeah, and like I said, she's very proud. Like along as you go in the game, you find out that she doesn't like the fact that the queen is using Kuja and his black mages to win wars, to win fights. She prefers being. Excuse me. Oh, I apologize, guys. I don't know why I'm so tired. I think it's just the heat we've had lately. But yeah, she doesn't like to be a back. She doesn't like to take like a back seat. She doesn't like to be pushed aside for black mages, the soulless puppets, or for Kuja who doesn't really have anything to do with the kingdom. She's in it for his own gain. So yeah, she's definitely got that proud confidence in her skills that she doesn't want that compromise. She doesn't want to be pushed aside for something that doesn't take skill, like like magic. It's powerful, but she prefers being the noble knight. Fighting sword to sword, weapon to weapon. She prefers that, and it shows in the way she fights. Because in all of her fights against her, you only fight her. You only fight her, and I'm pretty sure if it would have been really cool if in the last fight of her you fought her as just Steiner. I think that would have been really interesting. I think that would have been really interesting because it would have kind of showcased, because after the third fight she does join you. Well, not join you, but she stops being your enemy. And I think it would have been a cool thing for Steiner and her to have a one-on-one fight, and you have to beat her as Steiner. Oh, I forgot to take the thing off. Sorry, just having a quick drink because it is a bit. I'm dehydrated. Look in the chat. I've got Rat for subbing for 3 months. Thank you for the sub, Rat for. I really appreciate it, and good evening to you as well. And hello, Scene Dreamer. Welcome in. Welcome in. But yes, we do find out very quickly that Beatrix again is a very proud warrior, and she's not but despite the distaste she has for the black mages and for Queen Bran using the Eidolons, her loyalty does not like, she doesn't lose her loyalty. She still goes through with the Queen's orders, even though she doesn't even get a word of gratitude. She still follows the Queen's orders because she is still her queen. She must still, as a knight, follow her Queen's orders. But it definitely shows to her, to her caliber as a knight. She sticks to her code, her honor, despite doing things. God damn it! I'm sorry, guys. Despite doing things that are questionable, she still has some honor. She still sticks to her sense of duty, and again, it shows a lot about her. And even to her enemies, Beatrix she's merciless. She's merciless. She's merciless, but she's not above forgiveness. Because we find out in the game that she does in fact have a very kind heart. She acts stoic towards her enemies, but she has a very kind heart. She's willing to forgive enemies that are no longer enemies, and she's very, unlike Steiner, who is very kind of like loud. He's a bit rough and gruff and brisk. I think that's what I remember before. He's a bit coarse because he's loud and he's always grumpy. Beatrix always speaks in a soft-spoken and polite manner to her allies, or constantly, always as respect. She, even if it's like, if they just become her allies, she is still at least respectful. And Beatrix, she's also a character. She's a character who definitely she can fully admit when she's made a mistake. Like after you fight her for the third time, she literally realizes her mistake, and she apologizes to Freya and to the people of Bermesia for what she's done. She doesn't get that forgiveness, but she's content with that. She knows that she's not going to be forgiven, but she still carries on and helps them. And like I said, Beatrix is Beatrix is a renowned swordsman. Her sword being very famous, it being a notched broadsword, a kind of notched kind of like rapier kind of broadsword that you can see like the dents from the constant battles, and her sword is literally called Save the Queen, a notable sword in the series. And yeah, and when you get her, she has access to stuff like Cura, Ezuna, Life. She's got some good white magic. So yeah, so she's the more of the paladin of the group. And looking at her as well, you wouldn't believe that she is. You wouldn't believe that she's only 28. You wouldn't believe that she's only 28 years old. I'm older than her. Jesus. But yeah, she's definitely a character who has made an impact. Like she makes that impact in the story because you fight her, but you fight her, you never win against her because you never ever win against her. But it just shows the caliber of what kind of the caliber of an enemy she is. How strong she is. And I call her the Rose of May. Some of you may be wondering why I put that in the title, because her theme is literally called Roses of May, and this is generally a term that I've seen that many people have used to describe her as well, and I think it's a great title for her, Beatrix, the Rose of May, because I think that's a great title for her. I think that's a great title for her. And yeah, and as with her story as well, she started out as a normal, like just a normal knight and all that. Underneath Steiner. She was started as a normal knight underneath Steiner. But she first viewed him as like as a senior. He was a senior knight. He had been in the service for a lot longer than Beatrix had. He had earned his stripes already. But after she loses to Steiner in the only fight they've ever had, where he beat her, she's resolved to get stronger, so she can stand up to, she can stand with Steiner, stand up to him, she can stand with him, and she doesn't have to feel inferior to him. Of course, this also proves true, where she ends up becoming stronger than Steiner. And become stronger than Steiner and becoming more revered than he is, to the point where the Queen even forgets his own name. But yeah, but despite the little rivalry she has with Steiner, she still sticks to her duty. She's still proud and she's loyal to Alexandria, and she stays noble, despite the fact that she follows the Queen's orders and does these despicable things, but you can tell as you find out later in the game, and you can tell. Excuse me. You can tell that it's a few moments in the game where, like, even before you face her, like, you can tell that she doesn't like killing innocent people. It's like when in Clara she steals the gem. She could have killed the harp player, but she didn't. She spared him and just ran off. She spared him and just ran off. And as far as we know as well, we don't even know if she killed that many Burmesians. Like, we don't know. Like, it might have been just people who this might have just be people who fought against her and she defended herself. But either way, you can tell she doesn't really want to kill innocent people, but she knows that she kind of has to do as a knight, she has to follow her duty and listen to her queen. But even to her enemies, she still speaks like, she's still soft spoken and speaks with manners. Like, she still speaks soft spoken as manners, although that is more seen in the Japanese translate, in the English, like the Japanese the version, and rather than the English localization. But yeah, in the rest of in the original game, she is a lot more soft spoken and well mannered. I'm sorry, guys. And yeah, and of course, over the years of her fighting as well, she's definitely got a confidence in her abilities as well. She's definitely got a confidence in her abilities. She can be seen as arrogant, but she at least has the skills to back it up. She's got the skills to back up this arrogance, and it's earned both, like and her ability as a leader has earned her both admiration and respect from people and soldiers, and the soldiers under command, because they know that she is she's a strong leader. Um, but of course, her being a knight of Alexandria, she of her being a knight of Alexandria, um, she she will obviously show no mercy to anyone who is a threat to Alexandria. Like, you threaten her kingdom, you threaten her if you threaten her monarch, she will show you no mercy. She'll show you no mercy, and she will basically show no mercy, no hesitation, no emotion as she kills you, because she's fiercely loyal to her kingdom. But she does, like I said, she does have a kind heart, and she is willing to forgive when there's no reason to view these people as enemies. Again, this is with Sedan in the group. They after they fight for the third time, and Sedan manages to remind her of her duty to protect the kingdom and the royal family, aka Dagger. She realizes that she's been wrong, and she's quick to forgive Sudan's friends for the part they have in kidnapping Dagger, but she still, she most likely wants forgiveness. It's mostly her who wants forgiveness, but she knows that she won't get it, so she continues anyway. She stays loyal to Sudan and his friends afterwards, despite the fact that she knows that she may not ever get forgiveness from Freya for what she did with Bermesia and Clara, for example. But she still tries to go ahead and just help out her friends, because she has that sense of duty and sense of loyalty. She is, yeah, she has that sense of duty, that sense of loyalty. She is resolved to stick to what she believes in, and yeah, she is a truly remarkable character. Um, and like I said, she's obviously a skill. Like I said, she's a skilled swordsman as well. Thus helping towards her reputation, becoming known as the best swordsman on the Mist Continent, and that is you and just in battle with her and the ability sword skills she has, you can see that she has earned that title. She has earned that title by um, she's earned that title by by the feats that she's done. Although, one thing to note though is though, despite the fact that she's so strong in battle, she's got amazing sword skills, amazing sword ability, amazing prowess. She has never been in a war like Steiner has. In her lifetime, there's never been a war that Alexandria has been in that has needed her to fight. So she lacks. So she hasn't seen. She hasn't seen the horrors of war like Steiner has. She's not as, although she's stronger than him, she's not as experienced as him, because he has seen a war. He has seen things that he has seen things that she has yet to see. Um, and because of this, it known as well that her boast of killing 100 knights could be unknown. But after seeing her skill though, after seeing her skill, it's most likely the fact that that is true. That's most likely true, because she definitely has that skill. She definitely has the skill to back that up. Um, and yeah, she's definitely a character who definitely again, she backs it up. She backs up that skill. Um, and yeah, and a little bit more about history as well is that I've taken some notes of as well. Believe it or not, she's been serving the Alexander royal family for, I think, for 10, 11 years, because at the age of 17, um as far as 11, 10 years, because that's as far back as I've been able to find. Because at the age of 17, that's when she lost to Steiner in a sword fight. That's when she lost to Steiner in a sword fight. And then, of course, 11 years later, where she's 28, no, sorry, 10 years later, because the 28 would be the year time skip at the end. Skip 10 years later, and she is, and she's stronger than Steiner. So she's definitely worked. she's definitely learned from her. She's learned from her defeat, and she's worked hard to get that stronger, so she doesn't lose to him again. And yeah, and again, Beatrix is just a lot more of her character. Again, could be again, like I said, a lot more of her character could be seen from how you interact with her in the game. She's like when Zorn and Thorn, for example, at the start of the game, demand to see the Queen. Steiner turns them away, but then Beatrix just turns them, and goes, "Okay, I will see what I can do." So she's a lot more flexible than Steiner. She's not quick to go, "No, go away." She's a lot more flexible to go, "Okay, I will see what I can do." So it's showing that she does in fact have a kind heart, even if it's two people like Zorn and Thorn, who, as far as I know, she doesn't really like them that much. And and yeah, and she again, she's definitely like, so of course we see her like, in Bermesia, where she's led the attack in Bermesia, and you barely ever see Beatrix mad. But a line from Zorn and Thorn in Bermesia does make some implications to her anger, because one of them says, "Very scary it is when the general gets angry." So that implies that while Beatrix can usually be calm and collected, if you make her angry, she can get very cold and merciless and, well, scary. Um, and yeah, and all throughout, and then if you look carefully throughout the game, you can see like these little bits where, it's not obvious, but when you look at it like with different eye on that, and you pick up and you think about it, um, sorry, my brain just did a brung. Yeah, as you go through the game, you will pick up on things like this a bit more as well, where you will see like, little bits of her, like her true character, where where she is questioning what she has to do. She's questioning the why she has to do the things that she does. And especially in Bermesia, where when Queen Braun says that the King of Bermesia is still yet to be found and such, Beatrix is quick to say, that she will go and look for him. She will go and take care of it. She doesn't say her and the Black Mages. She says her, which again shows that she refuses to take a back seat to the Black Mages. She doesn't want anything that will basically show up the sword scale that she is proud of. And yeah, and then it just shows that, again, that she's a deeper character in the game than the game shows, because it's not until we go to the Red Rose after Clara gets destroyed that we really see. No, it's not. Yeah, it's not until we go to the Red Rose just before Clara is destroyed that we see Beatrix's true thoughts. That you go for this entire game thinking that she's on board with all this. She's on board with these Black Mages using magic, and the Queen using Eidolons, and the Queen are using Eidolons to attack Clara and destroy Clara. You think she's on board with it, but then we eavesdrop on her and find out that she hates it. She hates the idea of it. She thinks that she think like she, it's you can surmise from this that she does not agree with it, and honestly, and you can surmise that she does not agree, and if anything, she hated the fact that Clara had to be destroyed. Well, it didn't have to be destroyed. Bran just wanted to destroy it because she could, and you could tell that Beatrix was not on board with that. You could tell Beatrix did not like that. Like, Beatrix didn't. Beatrix is someone you can tell then that Beatrix is someone that who doesn't want doesn't want unjust killings. Doesn't want not unjust killing, but unjustified killing. Granted, she helped lay waste to Bermesia, but she was following the Queen's orders. But for the whole of Clara to be destroyed when there was no need for it, like when there was no need for the senseless destruction of Clara, you can tell the way Beatrix talks that she does not agree with it. She thinks it was deplorable. And again, it shows a lot to her nobleness as well, because yes, in that scene it's come across as more of, she doesn't want to take she doesn't want to take a back seat to the Black Mages and the Eidolons. And again, this is true. But again, the way she speaks about it, the way she's annoyed about it, yeah, the way she speaks about it, the words she uses, you can tell that she did not agree with the senseless destruction of Clara that there was no need for. But yeah, and again, this definitely speaks to this definitely speaks to her nobleness as a knight. And then, of course, we get to the next fight of her in Alexandria as well, where you fight her for the third and final time. A fight that, like the other two, you cannot win. You're not supposed to win it at all. And again, it's after you beat her that Sidon he appeals to the sense of duty in Beatrix. Like, like, like. First off, continuing on what I said about the whole sense of destruction of Clara, it's not just that as well. It's the fact that as well that she doesn't agree with the views of Black Mages because they just outright destroy everything. They destroy the targets outright. They don't try and let them surrender. They don't try and they don't give them a chance to surrender. They don't give them a chance to plead for mercy or even a chance to just to surrender and lay down their arms. The Black Mages just destroy them outright. Beatrix doesn't like that. She doesn't like killing prisoners of war. I mean, who would? Unless you're sick as well. But yeah, again, it shows a lot to her nobleness, her noble heart as a knight. As a paladin, she, if the enemy has surrendered, if the enemy is at her mercy and they're not able to fight, she will demand their surrender, and then it's very implied that she. Because of this nobleness, it's very easy to say that if they actually did surrender, she would see that no harm comes to them because they would be prisoners. They would have surrendered peacefully, and they'll be prisoners. Again, shows to her nobleness as a knight, as a paladin. But yeah, going back to what I was saying about after the third fight, going back to what I was saying after the third fight, Sidon appeals to her sense of duty as a knight, saying, isn't it your job to defend Alexandria, to defend Alexandria? And obviously at first Beatrix is like, she's wondering what he's on about. But when he points to Garnet sleeping on the sofa behind them, Beatrix looks at her princess and starts to fully outright question Bran's orders. Wondering, is this the right thing to do? In her sense of duty, has she been doing the wrong thing? Has she gone against her noble sense of duty, her noble sense of justice and duty and loyalty? Even though she's supposed to be loyal to the queen, has she placed her loyalty in the wrong royal? And she soon questions it. Like she questions it heavily. And you can tell in her mind, like she's even starting to question her whole duty throughout the entire game, and possibly even throughout her service. Thinking, was Bran, it could be even possible that in her head she's thinking, could I have prevented this if I had tried to talk to my queen to try and reason with her? Could I have prevented all this senseless death and destruction? You can tell that that's going through her head when she realizes just how far a queen will go, just how far Queen Bran will go without with what she wants to do. Look in the chat. Azrael says everyone reveres Beatrix, it seems. Oh yeah, there's definitely a reverence to Beatrix. She's a great character. A lot of people love her because she's strong. She's a great enemy to friend, and you can see she's got a nice nice little redemption arc as well. And I think it's mostly as well also because she's a very pretty character as well. She's a beautiful character. She is very beautiful. But again, I think it is mostly because of the fact that she is a character where we see her question everything that she's known in her years of service. We see her question it, and we see her little redemption arc into becoming a temporary party member and a friend to Sidon and his allies who used to be her enemies. And of course, Rat 4 with the hydrate reminder. Thank you for that, 4. I do go on for quite a bit. But yeah, and again, it just shows that, there's a lot of depth to General Beatrix. There's a lot of depth to General Beatrix instead, instead of just the mindless the mindless, not mindless, the emotionless stoic general who follows orders to the letter, doesn't question any of the bad ones. There's more to her. She's got a more righteous and more noble sense of duty and sense of loyalty. Again, even questioning her loyalty to the queen, who should be higher priority. She questions her loyalty and goes and think, no, I should have been following the princess all this time. The princess had the right idea. Um, and again, it just shows that, like I said, it shows her noble heart. She's not above admitting that she's made a mistake. She's not above admitting I've been wrong this entire time. And again, straight away, she asks for forgiveness. She asks for forgiveness from Bermesia and Freya. Again, she knows that she's never going to get it. She knows that she's never going to get it. She knows that she's never going to get it. She's never going to be forgiven. A whole race of people are going to hate her for what she's done. She may never be forgiven. She may never ever get the redemption from it, but she's still willing to do what she feels is right after that, despite the fact that she knows that she may never be forgiven. And it's definitely a selfless kind of, she's got a selfless heart. She's like, I don't, she's just like, I don't care if they see me as their enemy still. I don't care I don't care if they don't forgive me. I'm still going to do what I can to help protect them and protect the world. And again, like I said, it shows to her noble heart as a paladin, as a knight, as a paladin of Alexandria, because that is technically her job class. She is paladin. But yeah, like I love her as a character because of that sense of nobleness. Like she realized that she's been wrong. She's like, no, even though I'm not gonna get forgiveness, I'm still gonna try and help them. And yeah, it makes for a very great moment when she realizes, that she's been wrong. Because soon Queen Bran turns up, and she tries to convince Bran to stop, because she and one thing to note as well is when Queen Bran tells Beatrix on the Red Rose that she is going to have Garnet, her own adopted daughter, beheaded for stealing the royal family treasure, for stealing her necklace, her pendant. Stealing. Beatrix is horrified. She immediately thinks that it's too far, that there's no need for it, that there's no need to execute Garnet because she is the princess. But it's at this point she can see that Bran is she can fully see that Bran is far gone, that she's far gone in her power and her mad lust for power and control and magic. And I like to think that this is the moment where she starts questioning it. Like, no, if she's willing to execute her own daughter, then how far is Bran willing to go? Like, Bermesia and Clara could be understandable because they're not her daughter, they're not her family. Like they could be seen as enemies who resisted. But to put her own daughter up for execution, it definitely strikes a chord in Beatrix. And after Queen Bran dies and Dagger takes up the throne, you can definitely start to see Beatrix's she's starting to grow. She's starting to grow and show her kind heart more. You've got Dagger wanting to see Sedan, and Steiner's just like, no, you can't. You never needed him. You can't see him. But you then have Beatrix, she's been nice and kind and going, I'm sorry, but now may not be the best time. Your people need you. She acts more like a big sister to Dagger. Instead of a loyal knight, a loyal general. She's more like a big sister to her. And it just, again, it shows to her kind heart. She knows that Dagger's been through a lot. She's lost her mother. She's now been forced to lead the kingdom. But she makes it known that she is by Dagger's side. Dagger has her there to help her. To help her lead. She'll be by the princess's side. Even though she used to be an enemy, she will be by the side. And then of course Alexandria gets attacked. Like, well, not Alexandria gets attacked. We have this like little scene. We have this little side thing that happens with them as well. Um, because because one thing we don't actually see until this part in the game is that Beatrix does have feelings for Steiner. Like, yeah, she used to view him as a superior, and then she started viewing him as a rival. But it's not until Dagger becomes queen. Excuse me, not until Dagger becomes queen that Beatrix soon starts to realize that maybe the feelings that she has with Steiner are a bit more. And it takes a little mishap as well. It takes a mishap with a love letter that Aiko wrote for Zidane, that Beatrix mistakenly finds, and she reads it. She thinks it's from Steiner because Steiner was previously in the area where she found the note. She believes it's from Steiner, and at that moment, she starts to question her feelings for Steiner. Like, does she feel more? Does Steiner feel the same for her? And at the time of the meeting in the note, Steiner goes to the area and he finds the note. He finds the note, thinking it's from someone else for him. Beatrix, of course, then shows up, both thinking that the other sent the note, but neither of them says it. And they get closer and closer, and again, you can see that there are feelings for they are starting to slowly realize their feelings for each other. Like all this time, they were rivals. They sparred again and again. You can again see that they built up the feelings for each other that they both had to tamper down because they had their duties. They had their sense of duty, and they had their roles to do. Unfortunately, they almost kiss, but unfortunately, it does get ruined, which does suck. I would have loved them to see them actually like kiss, but who knows? Maybe in the remake. But yeah. And then of course, the next time we then see Beatrix is when Alexandra's getting attacked by Bahamut. Her and Steiner immediately rush out into town to protect townspeople against the Mistodons that Kuja summons, and to protect the townspeople. And it's this where one of my favorite tracks in the game, Something to Protect, starts playing. And the funny thing about Something to Protect is it's a variation. It's a variation of Beatrix's theme, Roses of May. It is it's a variation of her theme. And a lot of people, when looking at this scene and the conversations that Beatrix and Steiner have as they fight these enemies, with Steiner resolving to protect Alexandria and Beatrix, a lot of people think that yeah, this is Steiner's moment. This music's for Steiner, but one way it can be seen as well is that the music is for Beatrix as well, because now that she's realized her feelings for Steiner has become something that she wants to protect, and he's become something that she wants to protect. Like, instead of now blindly following Braun's orders, she's got something to protect other than Dagger. She's got something to protect that isn't just a monarch. There isn't just a monarch that she's pledged her sword to. It's someone who she can pledge her heart to. And I think I think them connecting as they fight, in the little conversation they have, I think it's a great moment of growth for Beatrix, because she's realized these feelings. She's able to tell She's pretty much able to tell Steiner how she feels, and it even ends up with Steiner going in trance because of his feelings for Beatrix. So it's a great moment for her. Unfortunately, we don't really see her that much until near the end of the game, when we're about to go to Memoria. We're about to go to the final dungeon, the final dungeon of the game. As Zidane and the party are going to go to Memoria, they are suddenly attacked by waves and waves of silver dragons, waves of silver dragons that Kuja summoned to basically defend Memoria. And what happens is Beatrix, taking command of the Red Rose, arrives to help them. She arrives to help on the Red Rose, and she basically inspires Steiner's knights. Now she's got Steiner's knights with her, and not just her own knights, but she's got Steiner's knights themselves, and she even inspires them. She even inspires Steiner's knights to something that she never did before because she didn't view them as worthy. She inspires them and say, "Take heart, your captain is about to enter Valhalla," and she basically urges them to fight. She urges them to fight for their captain. Of course, one of the knights does tease her and say, "We all know you only showed up. We all know you only showed up to protect Steiner. No, because you're worried about Steiner." And it's kind of funny because Beatrix doesn't deny it. She just goes. She just turns it to the knight and goes, "What was that?" Like, she doesn't deny it, but it's more the way it's done. It's more of a she's more of embarrassed that the knight would call her out on her feelings, even though she knows that that's true. And it's also kind of funny because it also ties in with a little scene as well which happens after the Invincible straight after, where Steiner is happy. You can tell Steiner is genuinely happy to see Beatrix on the Red Rose, and Sedan teases him a little bit and going, "Quite the woman you fell in love with." Again, Steiner, unlike Beatrix, Steiner doesn't deny this. He doesn't deny this at all. Like, he has fallen in love with Beatrix. Although it is then kind of funny where Steiner then just turns to Steiner and goes, "You'll want to talk," with Dagger then giving Steiner a funny little, she gets funny with him. But yeah, Steiner doesn't deny it. And again, Beatrix doesn't deny either. So as she grows through the game, she starts to come into her feelings about Steiner more and more and realize, yeah, my heart isn't my own because it belongs to Steiner. And it makes her very confused because generally with knights and paladins and that, they don't really form relationships with people where they serve with, because it could complicate things. And you can tell Beatrix has that kind of thought process in her head, like, my heart isn't really mine because it belongs to Steiner. Can I really do my duty if my heart is confused? Excuse me. And unfortunately, and this also leads to the end of the game, where after you beat Kuja, after Tantalus returns to Alexandria, and as they're about to perform "I Want to Be Your Canary" for King of Alexandria once more, like an actual proper performance this time, Beatrix tries to leave. She sets her sword down in Garnet's room, and she makes up her mind to leave Alexandria because she feels that she can't serve Alexandria while her heart is so confused. And it's a very it's a bit of a sad moment because you go for this game. No, we don't see as much of Beatrix as we would like, but you learn enough about her to know that she doesn't need this confusion. It's generally kind of like heartbreaking to see her having this confusion, because she loves Alexandria and she wants to protect Alexandria, but the fact that she feels that she has to give it up because she doesn't feel her heart is her own anymore, it's kind of sad. Thankfully, Steiner does run into her, and he confesses that he does not wish to lose her again, basically showing that he loves her, and he tells her, he tells her that he wants to protect the kingdom. He wants to protect Dagger together with her, and it's made obvious that she does accept, because when Dagger sees Sedan on the stage, and after revealing himself that the actor in the cloak was really Sedan, Beatrix doesn't stop Dagger from running for it. Both Beatrix and open the doors, and she basically motions for Garnet to just go, and she motions to Garnet and go on. It's like, yeah, go follow your heart, go to the man you love, because she knows that. She knows full well that, like what Beatrix should have done, she needs to do what her heart tells her feels right, and that's what Beatrix has done. Now that she questioned Bronn's, she questioned Bronn's orders. She questioned why Bronn's orders. She questioned the things that she had to do. You know, and she's basically just saying, Dagger, go for it, go, go follow your heart. And yeah, and it's a great defining moment for Beatrix because it showcases the growth that she's had through the game. You know, where she's no longer stoic and emotionless. She listens to her heart more. She doesn't just do as she's told. She listens to her heart, and so she listens to her heart, and she just follows her heart now. Um, and she makes for a great character. Um, Unfortunately, I would say the only bad thing about it as well is that you can't play. She doesn't become a permanent party member. If she had become a permanent party member, then that would have been like honestly amazing. That would have been honestly amazing. But sadly, she's only temporary. You only get to use her twice in the game, which yeah, you only get to use her 2 moments in the game, which really sucks. It really does suck. You can get her sword, however, later by a Synthesis shop, but it doesn't do anything. It's just there for collection. And yeah, like excuse me, yeah, like I said as well, her theme is "Roses of May," which is an amazing song. It's an amazing song, um, and again, it's why many people call her the Rose of May, or at least I call her the Rose of May, because it's May is generally, like around like Easter time, like it's like, it's like a time of like, rebirth, new life. And that's what it looks like with, that's what it's like with Beatrix. She realizes what, her true duty, what she's supposed to be doing. She realizes, that she should be questioning it. And it's like she's got a new life, she's got a new, she's been reborn as she's been reborn because she has started questioning the orders that she shouldn't have been following from the start, that she should have questioned from the start. It's like she's been reborn. She is now a new version of her, and it's honestly just a great song, Um, and of course it does appear in other stuff as well. But yeah, Beatrix. Sorry, I was just stretching a little bit. Originally, though, Beatrix wasn't actually written into the game either. Yeah, yeah, like yeah. Originally, a lot of people don't know this, but originally she actually wasn't in the game. Um, yeah, she wasn't actually written in the game. Um, because what was supposed to happen, like what they had, the idea they had originally was that Steiner would be the only person guarding Queen Braun, and he would have a convoy of paladins. But of course they then decided later to add Beatrix into the scene and basically give her the paladin role. Um, I assume they did this because they wanted someone to to counter Steiner, to counter his kind of like just typical normal knight role, and someone to counter him and act as a foil to him, something for him to question, um but yeah, like, so it's also why there's no like early development memo, for example, because yeah, they didn't actually think of Beatrix. They didn't think of Beatrix until like, I want to say like late in development. And yeah, it wasn't until like the game, until they were like, it wasn't until the game was like almost fully complete that they actually did put Beatrix in it. And I think many of us can say we're glad they did, because Beatrix is an amazing character. Now, as for the reasons why I like her, originally, as a kid, it was because I thought she was pretty. I won't lie. It's because I thought she was very pretty. Um, but as I got a little bit older and I played the game a bit more, as I've got older and I played the game a little bit more, I start to look more into Beatrix's character. Like, how like her as a character, where you see her as like, again, a stoic, emotionless knight. She's got duty above all, and I started to like that. I started to like it because I like how she portrayed herself. Again, she portrayed herself as stoic, emotionless, no nonsense. This is my duty. I have to do it. She was stuck. She was loyal to her queen. Because to me, loyalty is a big thing. It's a big thing. Loyalty is a big thing for me. And so again, I definitely, I definitely like the loyalty that she shows. Um, But then, and even as a boss fight, like you don't win any of her boss fights at all. God knows, I spent the first time I played this game, I spent so much time. I spent so much time trying to beat her. I was like, right, okay, not so much time, but the first fight, I was like, right, okay, she keeps killing my characters. Um, she keeps killing my characters. I then reloaded and grinded like 10 levels. It's like, right, okay, maybe now I'm strong enough to beat her. And then I lost again, and then I started losing partners again. I was like, right, okay, let's grind a bit more. Let's fiddle with the equipment a bit more. And then it wasn't until the second time that I realized, oh, you're not actually supposed to win this fight. I won't lie, as a kid, it did kind of piss me off. But again, like with her character and sense of loyalty, as I got older, I started to realize that actually makes her a really cool character, because it shows that no matter that she's a very strong character, it shows that. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. It shows that, instead of just being a strong character that you then beat and suddenly she's now weaker than you, or she remains stronger than you throughout the entire game because you just never beat her. And I really like that. I like that enemy where you can't beat them, but that just helps you see their strength, see how good, how strong they are, how they earn their strength. I like seeing that in a character. And then, and again, like I said, with the with the interaction she has in the game as well, where like the third, I mentioned the third battle a lot. After the third battle, she's quick to realize what she's done, and I like that in a character. I like that where if an enemy is turned into a friend, I really enjoy it when you see them realize their mistake, and they have a redemption arc. I like redemption arcs for characters who have done bad. Um and I really liked the fact that she just she was quick to ask for forgiveness. She was quick to go, people of Bermesia, can you ever forgive me? Like, she was quick. She was quick to ask forgiveness. Like, she didn't get it, and she's content with that. But the fact, it's just a simple fact that she was quick. She realized her mistake, and straight away, first thing she did was, "Can you ever forgive me?" I really loved it. I really loved it as part of her character, because again, it showed that she was a noble character who wasn't afraid to admit that she was wrong. Wasn't afraid to admit that she made a mistake. Um, and yeah, and I really liked it. I really liked that as a character. And then of course you have obviously the growth of her starting to realize her feelings for Steiner. You have that growth that she has in the game where she she starts to question her own self, because she starts to question herself, to think deep down herself, and think, is my heart really at peace? Is my heart at peace, or is that war of itself? Like, I don't know what's what. I don't know what I should be doing. I don't know what I should do, who I should pledge my loyalty to. Like, do I need to leave Alexandria so I can try and atone elsewhere? Like, it, I don't like, don't get me wrong, excuse me. I like enemy characters where, they're firm in their beliefs. They're firm in their beliefs that that they want to destroy. They want to cause this chaos. They want to do this evil thing they keep doing. But when an enemy is becoming basically defecting and realizing they've done wrong, I like seeing that. I like seeing that human side of them. That side where they are confused. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. They don't know where their heart is going. They don't know what they should do, where they should go for, where they should go from that point or forward. I like seeing the struggle they go through, the internal personal struggle they go through, because I like seeing that human side of an enemy. I think it's a great thing. It's a great thing. Um, and yeah, and I just think Beatrix just has some badass moments as well. Like, again, like with the Red Rose, where she shows up and she blindsides the Silver Dragon, so they crash into the side of the Red Rose, And she basically inspires, like I said, she inspires Stein's Knights, going, your captain's about to enter Valhalla. Like, she inspires them. You know, even though her and her soldiers kept showing up the Knights of Pluto, she's quick to take command, quick to take the lead, and basically inspire them to just basically say, you know, your captain is about to go into his finest battle yet. Do not disgrace him. You know, like show that you are capable of standing by his side. And I think the thing that draws me to Beatrix the most as well is the ending, because again, because her heart is so, because she's so confused in her heart because of what she's done, because of, you know, the fact that she isn't sure she deserves forgiveness, she isn't sure she deserves peace, she yeah, she isn't sure she deserves peace, she isn't sure she deserves, you know, peace of heart, you know, she's very confused, um and I like that in a character. I like seeing that attempt to make up for their mistakes, and that is what Beatrix does as well. You know, by trying to give up her knighthood and by trying to leave Alexandria, she's trying to at least atone for the mistakes she's made in her own way. Granted, Steiner convinces her to stay, and she does, with both of them raising their sword together, um, raising her sword together, which is also really cool because the last thing we see with them is they raise the sword and it shines in the sun. It shines right in the sun, and it's also kind of funny as well because that cutscene is also the only time Beatrix shows up in an FMV. I believe. I think that's the only time the only time she shows up in an FMV where you can actually see her. Um, in other FMVs, she hasn't actually ever shown up. She's like Kina. She's like Kina in Final Fantasy 9. The only time you ever see Kina in an FMV is at the end. Is at the end. That's the only time you ever see Kina in an FMV. In a cutscene in the game. But yeah, like all of these reasons are just why I really like Beatrix. Like, I think she's an amazing character. She's definitely one of my favorite characters in the series because of all this. Um, and it made me even hyped when because for those who know, I used to play Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia on mobile a hell lot. I had gotten through the whole story. I had gotten every character. I had gotten every character's weapons, everything. And they added Beatrix in it. Unfortunately, it was all Japanese voice, so we didn't get to hear an English voice. Um, but we they added Beatrix in it, and they really a lot of the conversations that she had, and even her own event, they expand on her character more. You know, you find out more about her sense of duty, her sense of love, her sense of romance, her sense of duty, how she feels about how she feels about Steiner, how she feels about, you know, Dagger, you know, how she feels about Zidane and friends, and you see more of a kind heart because in a lot of the cutscenes that she's in, she comes across more of a wiser older sister to many of the kids in the group as well. You know, offering advice or, you know, to the female children. She offers, you know, some ladylike advice. You know, and it shows that again she has a very kind and caring heart, and she basically has big sister vibes. And I think that says a lot about her character. That says a lot about her character. Um, Moving on to theories for the Final Fantasy 9 remake, if and when it actually gets confirmed, because it actually hasn't officially been confirmed yet, as far as I'm aware. We've only been had little hints, Like Square Enix recently posted just a quote from FF9, which is near the end, where it said, "My memories will be part of the sky," and it made people go nuts. It made people go nuts. Um, so it is likely that we may get sorry, brain not braining. We may get some news about it. We may get some news about Final Fantasy 9 remake this year. I'm personally hoping we get it around July. I can see it happening around July because the 7th of July is it will be the 25th anniversary of Final Fantasy 9. So I'm really hoping we get it confirmed around that time. Um this may not be the case, but I'm definitely hoping. As for what I would like to see her, as for what I'd like to see them do with her in the remake, bear with me. There's a lot of things I'd love to see her. I'd love to see them do with her in the remake. For one thing, give her a great voice. Give her a great voice. If you don't do, I think if they don't do a new voice actress for her, like a new up and coming voice actress for her, I want to say one voice actress that I would love to for her for them, for I would love for them to do for Beatrix, Jennifer Hale. I would definitely love for them to give to let either Jennifer Hale for them, or what was her name? What was her name? Colleen Clinkenbeard. Yeah, Colleen Clinkenbeard, who was the voice of Urza Scarlet in Fairy Tale. I could see them. I would love to see her as the voice of Beatrix, because Beatrix has that kind of look. You know, she's got that Urza kind of look. You know, the strong, dependable knight who is a big sister. I would love to see Colleen Clinkenbeard do the voice of Beatrix. Either her or Jennifer Hale. I think both would be amazing. I think both would be amazing voices for Beatrix. If they do voice FF9 remake, which I really hope they do. I really hope they do. Something else I'd love for them to do is expand on her story a bit. I would love for them to see. I would love for them to show us her lore. You know, show us the fight she had with Steiner when she was 17. You know, show us her history, how she joined the Knights of Alexandria. You know, again that fight with Steiner. You know, her constant years of service. Show us hints of those. Give us more into her backstory, because as while she is a loved character, there's still a lot about her we don't know. So I would, same with Steiner. You know, I give us Steiner and Beatrix's relation. You know, being Steiner and Beatrix over the years, that spar they did with them, and them in service together. You know, show us that. And I definitely want to see more scenes with her as well. Give us more scenes where we can see more of an insight into her way of thinking. You know, how her heart works, how her mind works, how her sense of duty, you know, give us more insight into her sense of duty, her sense of nobility, her sense of justice and dedication. Give us more about who she is as a knight and as a paladin. You know, give us her backstory and who she is as a knight and paladin. And above all, one thing I would love for them to do, and I'm pretty sure everyone can agree with this. I'm pretty sure most people would agree with this. Make her a permanent party member. Please, Square Enix, if any of you ever watched this, please make her a permanent party member. It's great having her temporary, and it works with the story, but make her permanent, because she has more of an impact on the story than people think. She is, well, not much of an impact, but her story is such a great one, and she's just an amazing popular character that I think she should definitely be a permanent party member, and I would love to see that. I would love to see her be a permanent party member, and if they keep the scene where she flies in with the red rose, I want to see her. I want to see her join Sedan and friends in Memoria to fight alongside them. I want her as a party member permanently, because I think she deserves that. I think she deserves to be a party member permanently, because she just has that role. She fits in, and she was a great unit to play as. She was a great character to play as with her with her sword skills and her white magic. Because we only have 2 white mages in the game, and while they're both great, it would be great to have a paladin on the party permanently. So I would say, yeah, a theory I have is it's more of a hope, but I hope that they make her a permanent party member. I hope they make her a permanent party member, give her the love she deserves. But as for theories, yeah, I have a feeling they're gonna expand on her backstory, because of how popular she is and how much wasted potential there was for her in the original FF9. So that's definitely my strongest theory. Is that I think they're gonna, like I said, go into, her backstory. We're gonna see her and Steiner sparring, and her losing against Steiner that one time. My theory is, yeah, they're gonna expand on her character, expand on her backstory, make her a more prominent part of the story, and with any hope, make her a permanent party member. Make her a permanent party member. But yeah, but that's all I can really hope. That's all I can really hope for. A bit of a shorter episode today because while I love Beatrix, there's not as much to talk about with her as much as I would like, as other characters and other subjects. But I hope that I've gone into a lot about her character and hopefully maybe I've helped you guys find some stuff about her that maybe that you guys didn't know. But yeah, for everyone on YouTube, whoever who's watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe if you like what I've seen. There will be a link to my Twitch in the description if you ever want to check me out on Twitch. You're more than welcome to come in and vibe with us on my streams. But yeah, to anyone in YouTube, who's watching this, or to anyone in the future who's watching this, and the FF9 remake has already been released, feel free to tell me, comment on this video, what you think about it. If you are in the future and and it's been released. But anyway, guys, yeah, I am. Again, all I can say is thank you guys for watching this. Again, please like and subscribe if you like my content and check me out on Twitch. And yeah, have a good day, evening, night. Have a good future. And again, if you're in the future and playing the FF9 remake, that if it's already out, I really hope you're enjoying it. But thank you for watching, guys. And as always, may you ever walk in the light of the crystals. Take care, everyone.